720 WGN. It is Dane in for Nick T until 5 a.m. today, and this interview, this book, this guest couldn't come at a better time when we all should kind of sit back, relax, look for ways that we can be happy, right? And if you've got somebody who's got sort of a roadmap to that destination, I think that would be great. On the line with us is Ted Larkins, an accomplished business executive and entrepreneur. He's worked on a lot of exciting stuff with some people I think we would all agree are exciting. Bon Jovi, Jack Nicklaus, Mariah Carey, many others. Vice President, North American Division of CPLG, one of the world's leading entertainment, sports, and brand licensing agencies. And here's the thing, though, is it's one thing to be happy, be successful, get out there and kind of control your world, at least on the disposition side. But when you're making use of that commute on the train and you decide to help the world by helping other people kind of get where you are on the happiness scale, I think you're ahead of the game. The book is Get to Be Happy, Stories and Secrets on Loving the SH, whatever, right? Put your asterisk in there, out of life. It's available on Amazon.com. The author is with us. It is the one and only Ted Larkins. Ted, welcome to WGN.
So great to be here, Dane. Thanks so much for having me.
Oh, no. Thanks for doing what you're doing. It's one thing, you always see people out there being successful, being happy. You wonder how you can get there, and you're trying to kind of bring people along with you.
Yeah, absolutely. And it can be done, and it's not always easy, Dane, but I'll tell you, when you get there, when you start feeling that and you start putting that back out to the world, it's really, really fun.
Well, you look at some of the things that you've done, and you bring up on the entertainment side, people live vicariously through a lot of those things. Those are some of their favorite people. They know they're having a great life, but you have, outside of the work side, you've done a lot of adventurous things. So let's talk about the origins of it, how it kind of all started, where you were out there kind of living life, experiencing kind of little daredevil stuff and getting out there and making the most of it.
Yeah, right. Thanks. So, I've been out there. I bartended around the United States for a bit. I headed over to Japan as a bartender, and just living, taking chances and not really knowing what was going on in life. And one thing I always was looking for was, what is this thing called happiness? And through my travels and some of the businesses I was in, I ended up meeting, a lot of famous people, including like Bon Jovi. I met John over in Tokyo. We were doing some business, and what I found, Dane, was he was, at first he was really standoffish. It was tough. Like, what's up with that? But then as I got to know him a little bit better, I realized he became just like us. He just was looking for happiness in life. And then as I went over to Calcutta, I went over to India. I had a chance to work in Mother Teresa's orphanages, and I met the kids there. And they were joyful. And again, it was like, what's going on? What's the ingredient here that John's just looking to be happy. The kids in the orphanages in Calcutta are looking to be happy. And what I realized is that everybody has this attitude when they're happy of, I get to do this. And that's kind of the impetus for my message. We don't have to do this thing called life. We get to. And that shift really brings out some great feelings within you.
Here's the thing too, right, is there are so many times where people look back and say, I could have done this, I should have. There was nothing stopping me, right? Except maybe you think, you've got this kind of overarching thing, you got to get up, you got to do what you can, and, you get into kind of the rat race of life and taking care of your family, and you don't necessarily think about the possibilities or that it isn't that hard to get out there and do a lot of those really cool things that you see, either on TV or with other people or just in general in life. Here's the thing I wanted to ask, the bartender career, because you get to, you're out there and it is, I'm sure, the entire scope. The team photo of humanity is coming up and talking to you. And of course, there's that kind of romantic situation with the bartender where you have to listen to their problems. Was it that kind of thing, at least initially, right? Where you heard people come up and say, hey, this is going on, or talking about this or that. And you in your own mind were like, hey, it's not that bad. Is that how it started on the whole positivity thing?
That's exactly right. And I was speaking to people that were down. I mean, people were all over the place. So one of the best quotes I've ever heard, Dane, was, "Don't cry because it's over. Smile because it happened." That's Dr. Seuss, you know. And what I would get from people was during tough times, they would be down and they wouldn't be feeling, the joy that they could be feeling. And through my talks and everything, what as people would start coming up when they started saying, "Oh, wait a second, it's not so bad. I get to do this." And I think that it really came to me, Dane, one day when I was doing the dishes. As simple as this sounds, I was like, "Oh, I got to do the dishes." And
wait a minute.
I said, "Well,
Ted, it's not like you can really. I mean, are you going to tell us that we should think like I get to do the dishes? Because if you can do that, you got to teach me that secret. I will bring that home with me and teach others." I'm
telling you, yes, this is it. As simple as that sounds. When I was standing there doing the dishes, I had a moment of, wait a second, 23,000 some people will die of starvation on the planet today. I can't even grasp that. And I don't want to go into feeling sorry for what things that I can't control, but I sure could have some compassion for that. And then I said, wait, I get to do this. And I had all of a sudden some appreciation for the food that I just had. Wow. And so it was just that moment of, well, wait, I don't have to. I get to. And then soon after, my 12-year-old said to me, "Hey, Daddy, come play." I said, "Oh, I got to do some work." Hang on. I said, "Wait, I get to do my work, but wait a second, I'm going to stop, and I get to play with my son. I don't have to." And it just shifted, Dane. And I promise, if you just use that, well, I get to, instead of saying I have to, it can change your life.
Now, do you have to consciously kind of, because still sometimes, you're doing some things and you get into, and some things in life, I mean, I don't know that maybe you're gonna change my thinking as well, but not everything can be a get to. Some things are sort of a have to. But was it one of those things where once you just sort of unlocked it, then it just changed, the whole world was just kind of open to you?
It did. And look, this isn't Pollyanna. I'm not telling you, just be happy. Forget all the bad stuff. Just be happy. Look, my daughter died at birth a number of years ago, and I've grieved, and I know grieving, and we all have grieved, and we all are. That's the nature of the human experience. But what I was able to do, and what I suggest you can do in any given moment, and you grieve, you go through what you do, but when you can just get out one, wow, I got to experience that person for as short or as long of a time that you got to. When you can just say, oh, I got to, you will automatically have a grin, a smile that says, wow. And then the more you can do that, you will shift over into this mindset of, wow, I get to do this.
Well,
it's not easy. I'm not saying. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, no, but we talk about kind of that team photo of kind of humanity, and you have people that have kind of made their life out of, at least on paper and visually, having fun and certainly providing a lot of fun and entertainment with people. Whether it's the actors, or certainly like Bon Jovi, right? Their music is fun. It's not deep and dark and brooding. They're not The Cure, right? It's Bon Jovi, right? You're having a good time.
Yeah.
And then how do you find yourself in the company of a Mother Teresa, right? Who made, or is at least well known by all the work that she has done with the impoverished, and in situations of extreme poverty, third world countries, and all that kind of stuff. Like, how does a Ted Larkins find himself in those situations? Were you seeking out, trying to say like, hey, this has got to be an incredible story, an amazing personality, and an incredible experience that I can add to what it is that I have and have experienced? How do you get from that to that? Because those are a couple different career paths. You weren't filming like a Pepsi commercial with Mother Teresa, right?
No. I was in Japan, and again, I was bartending, and then I was helping a guy over there. Actually, I was bartending. I was younger, and a guy asked me to negotiate the right. He gave me a phone number to call. He said, I put James Dean on T-shirts, and I called the number late one night. James Dean's cousin answered, said, yeah, here, I'll send you some photos, send me a couple grand, and we'll do a deal. And that's how I started in the business world. That James Dean contract of a couple of T-shirts turned into $80 million in James Dean product in Japan. Wow. And from there, I went to Pepsi Cola, and we negotiated the right for that. And so I built my career from bartending into this larger domain of representing the movie studios, MGM, Paramount Pictures. We did $500 million in business over the years there, and I was able to meet John. And again, we did a slot machine deal for John and for a Japanese company, and I was there negotiating that. But but during that time, Dane, I had a bit of an awakening, as I spoke about, like, wow, wait, what's going on? There's something more to this thing called life. And a friend of mine was over in Calcutta working at Mother Teresa's orphanages, and he invited me over. He was just a doctor friend, and I went over. I was working, and Mother Teresa, we were walking down the hallway, and Mother came by, and we stopped. I said, Mother, oh, my God. And she held my hands, Dane, and just the look in her eye just was like just so full of compassion. And I realized, wow, Mother has that. She, too, she's just trying to be happy and help the world. And from there, I just realized everybody I met, I just looked for the smile, that one part that said, I'm here to do my part in the world. And I just think everybody has that. And again, when I was with John, in the end, he was like, I'm just here to bring some happiness to myself and to the world. And that's what I find with everybody, Dane. I bet that's where you are. Find some happiness.
I'm getting there. I'm pointing in that direction. Yeah. But what amazing experiences. And there's got to be something about that positivity, kind of making yourself open. I don't want to get all kind of weird and hey, the energy of the universe kind of thing. But you got to be open to those things. Those are not kind of, I don't want to say normal, but those are not like, typical situations, right? And you kind of find yourself in them. And not only to experience them, to make the most of them, kind of understand what it is and what it can mean, and then to take that extra step to put the book together. When we come back from this break, we are going to talk with you about the book, what's in it, right? And not only, I think all the reasons why people should like it, should, appreciate it, and should definitely get a hold of it, but specifically what's in it, and maybe kind of that process of writing it, right? It's one thing to experience things. It's another kind of put together a manual for people to benefit from it. We're talking with Ted Larkins. He is the author of Stories and Secrets on Loving the S. And yes, that's what I said, Out of Life. It's available on Amazon. We're going to talk with him about all those things when we come back from this break. It's Dane in for Nick D here on 720 WGN. 720 WGN. It is Dane in for Nick D until 5 a.m. today. And on the line was at a time when we could use all the positivity that we can get, not only just to hear about some great things that are going, but how you can build and incorporate some great things into your life. We've got a guy that has been out there achieving in the business world. He has done so many exciting things, traveling the world, meeting up with some of the not only the rich, the famous, the successful, the awesome, and even the spiritual. And he's put all of that into the book, Get to Be Happy, Stories and Secrets on Loving the S-H*T Out of Life, available on Amazon.com. Ted Larkin, welcome back to WGN.
Hey, Dane, great to be here.
So here's the thing. You're doing all of this stuff, and it's a success, and you're finding some kind of peace and fulfillment and satisfaction and all that kind of stuff. It's not everybody, though, that at that point says to themselves, well, hey, geez, I need to document this. I need to get this down on paper, and then I need to be able to share it with people. So tell me when that happened. It's one thing to say, like, you flip that switch and start to say, I get to do stuff and appreciate things. It's another to say, we got to do a book.
Yeah, right. I was commuting in L.A., which is on the train, which is almost sacrilegious. You got to be in the traffic. If you're not in your car in the L.A. traffic, something's wrong. But I was lucky. I had a 2-hour one-way commute from Southern California up to Hollywood, and so I was listening to a great book. It was called Big Magic from Elizabeth Gilbert, who wrote Eat, Pray, Love. And so her book was all about her journey in writing. And in it she said, look, anybody can write. If you just commit 30 minutes a day and just write anything, just scribble, you will come up with something. And when I heard that, Dane, I said, I want to share this principle that I have of getting to, instead of have to, get to. And I just started writing. And as I did, it was kind of about my story, about my journey, and it just started flowing out. It wasn't magical or anything special, except that it just did flow out. And at 30 minutes every day, I was committed to that no matter what. And over the next year, this book came about, and I called it Get to Be Happy, because you get to make that choice every moment. I think, Dane, every moment in life, the most important decision a human can make is to be happy or not.
Yep.
And when you can't. I get that, and then you feel whatever you're feeling. I'm not saying don't feel the grief or the pain or the challenges, but when you can, if you can just say, wait a second, I get to be happy. If you just do that once, that's a huge thing for the world. So that was my journey, and on the train I wrote the book and brought it out. It was published just in November, and I'm having a great time with it. Great response, Dane. People are reading it and really getting this shift. I mean, we're on a ball hurling through space at 67,000 miles an hour. You know, as long as we're here, we might as well be happy.
Well, you make the ball hurtling through space. You kind of make all of our problems seem insignificant, I think, which is really important. And the strange part about it is that it can be, and sometimes it only takes as much as somebody, whether it's you or someone in your life. And sometimes people don't have that person, but saying like, hey, you know, you have the power to do this. It's really up to you whether you decide to be happy, to go out and do things you want to do, to kind of let go of whatever kind of, you know, trappings of depression may be there, you know, and kind of get out there and live like, make the most of it. Here's the thing I wanted to, you know, because for some of the listeners that are listening out there, maybe one of their get-tos is that maybe they've got a book in them, you know, and there's some people and people say everybody's got a story, that kind of stuff. What was the writing of the book? I think you knew what you wanted to do. You knew what you wanted the end result to be, but, you know, point A to point Z, that doesn't always make a book. Was writing the book itself, was that a get-to, or is that one of the have-tos to get to be able to share it?
No, it was total get to. I just said I'm setting the timer for 30 minutes a day. Now, if you have 30 minutes, and that's what my suggestion, it could be 20, it could be an hour. But if you want to write, my suggestion is just dedicate a certain time every day and do that. And if you can do that, what I found is that I just started writing. Things came out. Oh, this came out. This came out. And I think what the only missing piece is making that decision to dedicate the time, whatever that is, whatever you have in you. And again, Dane, I'm not talking Pollyanna. I'm not talking about just be happy, just get over yourself. It's not about that. It's about living how you're feeling in this moment and really feeling that. And if you're in the commute, you know, and you're driving, you're in the traffic, if you just that shift and say, wait a second, there's a lot of people that I'm going to a job that don't get to have a job today, that don't get to do that don't get to do what I get to do. And you look for those little things. This shift from I have to be here doing this to I get to, it's filled with compassion. It's filled with appreciation, whatever those points are for you. And then you smile. And when you smile, here's another point, Dane. When you smile deliberately, positive endorphins are released in your body, and you feel joy. That's a physiological happening. And so my mantra is, I say I get to in any given moment, even when I'm cleaning the cat box. Oh, wait, I have to. No, wait, I get to. I smile. I feel this joy because that's what happens physiologically. And then the next moment, I feel power because I've taken control of my life.
Ted, if you can do that, now washing the dishes was one thing. When you went, you went all the way to cleaning the cat box. Now that's some serious stuff. So here's the thing: not only are you sharing the experiences, and it's been awesome talking to you, and exciting, I'm sure, for people to kind of live vicariously again through you, through some of those really exciting things, but giving people tools to do some of the same things in their own life, in their own way, I think is really exciting. The book is Get to Be Happy, Stories and Secrets on Loving the SH*T out of Life, available at Amazon.com. Ted, also, too, give people, you know, your social media or people or ways that people kind of keep up with you, follow your adventures and all that.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Dave. Look, you go to gettobehappy.com. That's the simplest, or tedlarkins.com. They take you to my site. You can follow me on Instagram at Get to Be Happy, and Twitter and Facebook, Get to Be Happy. I offer coaching, happiness coaching for people. I offer a free 30-minute exploratory Get to Be Happiness coaching session. And I really just, you know, it's not easy to do this alone, and so I'm there for you. My book is really, I think, a fun read. And at the end, you do come to this place of, wow, I get to. So Get to Be Happy, that's gettobehappy.com. That's what I suggest people do, and get out there. Connect with me. I love to communicate and just explore this whole experience called life that we get to do.
He is Ted Larkins, author of the book that you need to get to be happy. And, of course, he is your happiness coach. We all need one of those. Ted, thanks so much for what you're doing. Thanks for jumping on WGN tonight.
My pleasure, Dane. Thanks for having me so much.